I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time. All these years, I've been listening to hunters telling their stories of how they got their deer. And now it is time for me to sit here and think about how I got mine. So in this video, I will tell you the story of my first buck. I'm not going to go back as far as 9 years, but I will give you some background information real quick. So yes, I did start hunting 9 years ago, and I started doing archery 6 years ago in 2020. I've been going to the A zone for 5 years, but I haven't been there for a few years. And this just goes back to June when I went down there just to kind of check things out. I set up 2 trail cams, and I have a video about that, so I'm going to link it right here if you would like to watch it. It's not that long. So I placed my 2 trail cams there that worked really well last year here in D7. So they malfunctioned. They didn't record right. These are cellular trail cams, and they would record in weird times like 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 or sometimes at night. And I went back and forth with customer service, and they couldn't fix it. So those trail cams were completely useless, but the area I put them in, I believed that the deer would travel there, and before they were actually turned off, I was able to capture footage of some does crossing at each camera exactly where I thought they would. So I was happy with it. I said, okay, you know what, that's enough for me. That was basically my preparation for this hunting trip. Hunting season came. I went down there on Friday. I camped. I always disperse camp. I take this trailer, and I went out there with my spotting scope to look at the area where I would be hunting. A couple of trucks went by, and then this one hunter stopped, and I figured, oh, he just wants to say hi. And he looks at me and he goes, "Are you Huntress 308?" And I started laughing. It was so unbelievable that 5 hours from my house somebody would recognize me. But yes, he did recognize me from my YouTube channel, so that was pretty cool. And we started talking. He was a really cool guy, and he showed me some pictures that he saw lots of deer, and it was very encouraging for me because I didn't really see a whole lot. So he even told me where to hunt the next day. Well, he didn't tell me. He suggested this one trail that would go out to a really good area. And I said, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I'm going to take his advice, probably better than what I would choose. So Saturday morning when season opened, I headed out to this super steep going down area along a creek, and it was steep. I really actually wasn't liking it so much because it was basically steep like this, like you have the creek bed like this, and then you're hiking like that. And I was like, I don't even know where the deer would travel. Like, I'm sure there are places where they could come down, but it was okay. And I went in some ways, but not nearly far enough. And then I found a tree that I could sit by. It looked like the deer could be like traveling down there. And by the time there was some water in that creek bed, I waited some time and I sat around, and then I went a little further because I didn't want to feel like, wow, I turned around right away. I'm not even doing what I'm supposed to do. So I went back up, and I saw this hunter. He drove by and he invited me to go hang out with him. It was him, his friend, and his friend's son, to go hang out with them, visit their area where they're camping. And he said he could show me some places there. So I said, you know what, might as well, let's learn. I only know some areas here. Let's learn more. So I did that, and I ended up hanging out with them the whole day. They showed me some areas and saw lots of does. We saw one spike, and I definitely have learned a lot of new areas. So Tony, if you are watching this, thank you so much. I appreciate everything, all the advice and the company and the friendship and the help and everything. It was definitely awesome. I was so exhausted. I was like, you know what? I feel so out of it. I'm not gonna wake up at 4:30. I just can't see myself. So I slept in, And I said, I'll just go later. And then that later became noon. We slept like 10 hours. It was crazy. The weather had changed. It was overcast. Even the day before was overcast. But I think the air pressure was lower because it definitely affected me. I was just laying here. I felt guilty, but I was like, it is what it is. So in the evening, 5 o'clock, I said, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm going to hunt the area originally that I was going to hunt. So I went out there. I'm sitting there and I'm just looking down and I see this buck, this 2x2, right down there, 50, 60 yards from me. And I was able to range him to see how far he is. And I said, okay, that is too far for me to shoot. My comfort zone is up to 40 yards. I would shoot at a buck at 50, but I would prefer not to. And I definitely don't want to shoot past 50. My bow is not that fast, and my poundage, I believe, is 45 pounds. And I was told to not really shoot as far as like 60 or further, because that arrow will not have as much kinetic energy. It might just injure the buck, and I'm not that good of a shot anyway. So I kind of tell myself 40 yards. And all this time I was always wondering, like, how do you ever get to a buck within 40 yards in a way that they don't see you, they don't smell you, but you see them. And if you're in a forest, you're hidden, but you don't have all these bushes and branches in front of you, so you're actually able to shoot. So I've been always wondering, like, how does that work? I know there are archers that shoot 80 yards and 100, and that definitely sounds like the thing to do, but not everybody does that. And I was like, I don't even know if I'm ever gonna get a buck with my bow, but I'm just gonna try. So he didn't see me. I got up because it was just kind of awkward to even try to shoot from where I was, but I felt like I need to get closer to him. And he was down in that draw, exactly where I knew they would travel, and I was up here. And I got up and I even went down maybe like 10 yards. And one time he looked at me. It looked like he looked at me, and I just froze. I put my head down. I closed my eyes because I've always read, like, don't look at them. If something about your eyeballs, if they see it, it's not good. And I know that they will recognize your face, your eyes, your mouth. They will know you're a human or something like that. So I just put my head down, closed my eyes for like 10 seconds. And then I looked up and he went back to eating, and he was just kind of weaving in and out of the bushes. So honestly, even if I could have shot at 50 yards, I would have had maybe 10 seconds to do everything. So it just wasn't really good. But now I was standing, I was a little closer, but then he was just kind of disappearing, and I was trying to see where he was. I thought maybe he stopped somewhere. Next time I saw him, he was way out there, like 150 yards. And he was going exactly where I thought he was going to go. So this was so exciting for me. It wasn't discouraging that I couldn't shoot at him. It was actually really awesome. It was this confirmation that I was right. My instincts were right. Everything I have learned, everything I have thought, it was correct. I put that trail cam in the right spot. No, it didn't record anything, but if it did, it could have recorded all these deer. And I was right there, and it was just such an amazing feeling. So I told myself the next morning, I will come early in the dark, and I will sit on the other side. There's a tree actually where my trail cam was, that's maybe like 20 yards. And I'll get in there in the dark, and I'll sit and I wait, and maybe he'll come back. Maybe another one will come. Maybe they won't, but then I will be there midday. I will be there in the evening. I can technically stay as long as I want. This was just such an awesome feeling. So went back to my trailer, prepped everything, went to sleep early, and then the next day came. After about 10 minutes, I look at my bow and I realized I lost an arrow. Out of the 5 arrows, I had 4. By the time it was shooting time, and I'm just going, and all of a sudden, I look and I see this buck, and I just stopped. He didn't notice me. I got my rangefinder. It was like right here on my hip. So just super slowly, I got it. I looked and I saw that he was at 40 yards. I couldn't believe it. And then while I was at it, I kind of ranged where he was going, because he was broadside. He was going this way to my right. So I kind of ranged where he was going, so that I'll know when I see it, I don't have to range him again. And it was like 40 yards, 35 yards. So I said, okay. And I was just super slow motion. I knocked an arrow on my bow because it wasn't even like that. I had my backpack on, and up until now, I have always thought about practicing, not just standing, but with my backpack, sitting down, laying down, half knee. Never done it. I'm going to definitely practice, but I had my backpack on. I was just standing there, and it just dawned on me, like, is this my deer? Like, this is it. Now, obviously, I didn't take like 10 minutes to do all this. It was pretty quick. And at one point, he looked at me. And again, I put my head down, closed my eyes for like 10 seconds. And then I looked up, and he went back to eating. I don't know how he didn't see me. I stood out there in that yellow grass field, but he did not see me. I must have been invisible to him. So I took one shot at him, and that arrow went way above. And I don't know how that happened. I didn't rush it. I didn't make a mistake. It shouldn't have happened. I didn't know why. And I was like, oh my gosh. He didn't care. He just was like, whatever. And he went back to eating. So then I took another one. So this was now the second arrow out of the 4 that I had. And that one connected with him. So the whole time I thought it went into his leg, like in his thigh, in his hip. That's what I saw, and it went in. It wasn't until later, when I was cutting him up, that I saw that it actually went in his torso. But I didn't know. I just thought it was his leg. And he didn't run. He was just starting to walk a little faster, but it wasn't fast. So then I said, okay, well, I gotta get him. So I shoot another one, and this one I did rush. It was still up in the air, and I just let it go. Like it was crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I only have 1 arrow left. 1 arrow is in him, 2 arrows are out there, 1 over there, and I have 1 left. So then he starts walking, and he goes down to this draw that's right next to me. That's where it actually started, where they travel. And I go up there, and I look at him, and he's standing again, like sideways, but he's looking at me. He can totally see me. We're looking at each other. I arranged him 20 yards. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I have my bow up and everything, and you know how you have that little level on it and everything. And he's just waiting. And I had all this time to make sure it's as good of a shot as it could be. And I let it go. And that arrow ended up going in his torso about this much higher. This was one, and here was the other one. So same place, just one was lower, one was higher. I actually never found out which one was which. It wasn't in the heart. I don't know if it was a lung shot. When I cut him up, I did not check the lungs, so I don't know. But I saw that I hit him. And then he starts walking. It's kind of like a very slow running. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have any more arrows. Like I could have shot at him one more, but I was like, I don't have any more arrows. And I was thinking, I hope I didn't just injure him. Like, oh my gosh. So this is out in the open and you have some bushes and some trees, but not a lot. And so he goes this way and I'm like, well, let's go after him. And I should be able to see him. And I was just hoping that he'll end up dying somewhere very closely because he was injured. I was hoping fatally. So I'm going after him and I don't really see him, but I hear noises in the grass. It was actually like like a kick or some kind of a movement. And it just seemed like it was something big. It wasn't like a bird or anything or the wind. And I'm like, okay, I think that's him. So I stopped because I know you don't want to run up to him and jump him. So I just stopped and I'm just waiting. And I said, okay, well, let's make sure. I also wanted to see if he is anywhere else walking. He wasn't. He was just nowhere. He was in the grass. So I started walking towards it slowly, took a few steps. And then I heard one more, like this big kick or this some kind of a movement. And I could tell, I could feel that that's him. It has to be him. It's just this big movement from the ground. I was sure that it was him. So I was like, okay, this is my deer. This is my buck. And then I waited and maybe like 5 minutes. It seemed like I waited forever. And then I walked closer a little bit, but it wasn't far. I walked a little bit closer and then I waited some more. And then I could see in the opening of the grass, the brown, I could see him laying there. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my buck. I got him. He's laying right here, 5 yards from me. And I'm just waiting, just to make sure he won't jump up. But it's been 10 minutes, but I'm just gonna wait patiently. This is my first year, and it's an archery buck. It's a beautiful morning, isn't it? This was first thing in the morning when I shot him. It was at 6 a.m. So I said, I have all the time. And I was looking at him through the grass, so I could tell that he wasn't moving. The worst thing I wanted to do was walk up to a deer that's still alive. By the time I walked up to him, he was out. So I was actually very glad that his death was pretty quick. I mean, me telling you this story, it takes a long time, but it wasn't that long. So after that is when the real work started. So I actually had this tie down rope with me that I use for my trailer. I thought this whole time that I could just like wrap it around him under his arms and then his antler, and I can just pull him and I can just put that strap like right here and I could just pull him like a mule, and that did not work. I couldn't take a step. I mean, he probably weighed about 125 pounds and I couldn't do it. So I actually did wrap it around him and I was holding that strap in one hand and the other one I was like holding the antler, and I could only take a few steps and And then I would yank him and I would take some more. It took me 4 hours, a little over actually, 4 hours to get him out of there. This is hard. I'm gonna be so sore. The whole thing is about 160 feet elevation gain, which is not that much at all. But when you're dragging something 125 pounds, dead weight, it just feels so hard. I already feel it in my back. And I had to kind of come up and down a little bit, not too much. There was some level ground. And when it was level, it wasn't hard. I could just drag him. But coming up, I had to stop every few steps, just a little. And then every once in a while, I would take a longer break. I finally sat down. This is the first time I sat down in the last 3 hours. And my water is gone. It's been gone for a long time. And the truck is not that far. I'm so close, yet so far away. But this is the price you have to pay. So I'm gonna take another minute and then up and go. This was the hardest thing, the hardest physical work I have ever done in my life. And that includes giving birth, because when I gave birth, I was asleep. So that wasn't that hard. I was happy to do it. I mean, this was part of it. And this is where people will be like, well, you weren't prepared and you should have cut him up and pack him out. If I would have had cut him up out there in the dirt with the flies and everything, I would have had to leave so much meat behind. It would have been a shame. Yes, sweetie. Yeah. Mommy got a deer. Were you a good doggy, Misha? I know, sweetheart. You want to see? Come on, baby. I know, but guess what? You're gonna have to go back in your place. Otherwise, you're gonna go crazy. I was able to save as much meat as possible. Would I do it differently next time? I think the only way I would do it differently is that if I had the chance, I would debone him. So I pulled up right here and I was using the outdoor shower for my RV to rinse the meat, and that was very useful. I mean, we were in the sun, but at least I had water and it was shower, so it was good. I'm done. I am so tired, red-faced and sweaty. My back is killing me. I haven't really eaten anything today, but the deer is all cut up and I'm just going to relax a little bit, and then we're gonna have to drive home, and it's 5 hours. I can't spend the night because here it's like 70 degrees and it's not gonna work for the meat. And my e-cooler can take some of the meat and I put some of them in it, but the whole big pieces is just not gonna fit. So we're gonna have to go home. I actually processed the entire deer myself. It took me about 2 days, but it is all cut up and in the freezer. I gotta tell you something though. So my friend, she was like trying to get me some help, and she posted on Facebook in one of these Facebook groups to see if anyone is in the area, because there is cell phone service there, if they could help me pack him out. She didn't say I was a girl or anything, and it was so disappointing. The comments that were made, they were ridiculous. Not one person was positive or encouraging. Everybody was talking crap. How I'm so dumb. Why didn't I plan better? Why didn't I do better? This is all my fault. And why do I expect people to help me? Which I didn't, you know. It was so negative. It was absolutely ridiculous. I wasn't really bummed out so much. I was trying to drag this deer anyways, but she said she was so disappointed. It was insane. It was bad. It was shameful. I posted in our local group, in the D7 Hunters group on Facebook, and even though I didn't get this deer in D7, but I know a lot of people know me there, and let me tell you, it was 100% positive, beautiful, happy comments. It's just, it makes your heart warm thinking, wow, all these people are happy for me. Not one person said anything negative. It was so amazing. So D7 Hunters, you guys are awesome. You guys are the best. This was the story of my first buck, and I love everything about it. The fact that this was an archery buck, and the fact that I was by myself. I did everything. I didn't have help. Yeah, it would have been nice, but I did it all by myself. I dragged him out, I cut him up, I butchered him, I did everything. I know this is a long video, but I had to tell it. If anything, when I look back 20 years from now, when I'm old and I can't hunt anymore, at least I want to be able to relive all these memories, and that will be nice. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to this very, very long video. Stay tuned. I will be posting lots of videos. Once again, thank you so much. I will see you next time.